go. I'm not sure we'll see that this time around. It's time to kick things off, though, for virtual BMW Motorsports. Apex in control. We are racing in the 2022 BMW Sim GT Cup, storming themselves down into turn number 1. Single file for the top 2. Red line down the inside. Carnage across the start-finish line. Not unexpected with 48 cars in the field, but the top 20 cycle their way through down into the International Horseshoe. They get themselves cleanly underway for this race.
In a sense, they might be asking the question.
That's Simeon Lynch trying to slip it down the inside of Nicholas Laubish as they work themselves through the second of the hairpins in the infield here. Oh, that's close, but Lynch will now have the outside line as they rejoin themselves back onto the banking. He knows he's got to concede that position.
Yeah, that's it. Just, don't... If it's come through a little bit dramatically, don't try and take too much advantage. Again, play the long game, wait for things to unfold properly. And you can see on our... we can see like the positions gained and stuff. There's a few drivers and teams that have gained a lot of positions, and a few, as you can see there, that really haven't gained that much. You've got quite a few 1s, 2s, 3s on there. Again, though, with a couple of 10s, 14s. There's a 25 for the Apex Race Academy, of course, being spun around. But there's some that have gained 8 positions for the Valkyrie, the 48. Some drivers have taken advantage of some going a little bit slow in these early portion of the race. Others are just waiting. They're waiting because they know that their time will come, and it'll potentially be in 45 minutes time when we get to the pit stops.
One thing to think about as well, fuel and tires are done separately in this car. Do we see drive?
You can technically go below it, just not the wisest call you'd ever make.
Well, the iRacing staff might have a different answer for you.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, right side as Vendeval do drop down the timing screen. You can see they're going to go too wide, almost too deep in towards turn 1. Valkyrie will have a look to the inside of the Kova car. That was a little bit deep on the anchors from Simeon Lynch, who won't get the move done initially. He might have to wait until the International Horseshoe, but he leans on the car behind as well. This is close quarters stuff.
Yeah, we've got side by side all the way. Hugh Barter is going to pick up that spot on Valkyrie potentially, who go down a position now. Simeon Lynch not able to. He's going to lift out of it ever so slightly.
Side to defend from Kova. All the way through the field, there is action stacking itself up. Fira makes the mistake, and they're going to lose about 3 positions when all things are said and done.
Yeah, and Lasse back nearly cleared Max Benecke straight off the road there. There we go. There's 1, there's 2. Here comes Kova as well to make it 3. And that should allow Fira to drop back in. But look at Kova just getting straight back up there, continuing the light flashing from Max Benecke. He is really not pleased with Ricardo Rico.
Yeah, I was doing a race with a works driver for another manufacturer midway in 2020, and I can tell you that he had mapped his push-to-talk button to the same button that controls his headlights. That's not what we're seeing from Max. That is not what we're seeing from Max. I can almost guarantee you that.
No, I mean, to be fair, that would be that. I have seen this kind of stuff before. Let's see what Max Benecke is going to do now that they're closing back down in on the on turn 1. He's not quite close enough to do anything, and he we're going to see another one losing position. Who's that dive down the inside? That's PJZ picking up 1, 2, 3 positions and taking Fire off the track.
Yeah, that's a bump and run if I've ever seen one. That's classic Daytona. Yeah, but at least Lasse back controls it. He will drop now down to 20th. I can tell you as well that BS Turner, Urano Esports, number 9, have been brought into the mix as a result of all of this fighting. It's really compressed now from a 17 to a 21 car pack, because Valentin Mandernock in the RAG number 8 car is getting involved as well. Christopher Dambeats is alongside the full-time Esports number 19 with Gustavo Ariel behind the wheel. He'll lose out for now. Nathan Lewis will chuck it down the inside. This race, chock-a-block with action. No matter where you look, there is something going on. My question becomes, who's doing fuel saving amongst all this fighting?
To be honest, even though it's crazy fighting like this, theoretically speaking, quite a lot of this grid could actually still be meeting the number. I know it sounds bizarre, but it can happen if you're just, the entire pack. Because what we're seeing is the entire pack go slower. There was the incident that sent, it was Reina Talvar then into the rear of Fire, and then, it just all got a bit messy in the middle there. But the entire pack is going so much slower. You were saying about the 46s. BS Turner on the last lap was a 44 from other cars. You look at that and you think, all that body language is quite aggressive. And what we mean by that is the way that he's darting, the way that he's weaving, the way that he's even looking going into the corners. You're starting to question what they're going to do next. And that's what makes great drivers on these grids, is they're weighing up what is happening around them before it's even happened. And it's why after some big dives like that, you can ask a driver and they'll go, yeah, I saw that one coming from a mile away, because they were reading the body language all the way through. Full-time Esports getting past Valkyrie. Valkyrie moved up a lot of positions in the air.
Got bundled off the road down at turn 1. The likes of Brian Lockwood, who had a swarm of issues of his own. This is one of those races where you can't give up. Things are always presenting themselves. Here is that BS Turner car coming under fire from Nicholas Laubich is Nathan Lewis. And yesterday, Lewis, I got to commentate on the first official race of Team 75 Bernard by SimRC. A combination of the German outfit SimRC, one that we've come to know and love across of iRacing special events here on Racebot TV, with the real-world outfit Team 75. Now, they're not the first team to have done this. BS Turner's been doing it for a while. They've even had this livery that we're seeing right now race in real-world competition. But this is that illustration that sim racing is more than just a hobby, more than just an esport. It is something that can tie itself in with real-world competition more than any other esport can do.
Yeah, because like you say, it's the example that we always bring up, and this is not me dissing on any other form of esports, but you're a pro player in Rocket League or in Dota, League, FIFA, whatever. Those skills in the game don't necessarily translate into the real world. There isn't a real world version of Rocket League or Dota or League. There's FIFA, but you don't play as the team, you play as the player. It's not the same. It doesn't translate. However, what we have here in sim racing is this beautiful thing of being able to, yes, there is no direct translation, because obviously force feedback and how the G-forces work on the body, etc., etc. And what you're being told here is Nathan Lewis is going to lose out a little bit here as Laubich gets to the inside, also side by side in the background as red line yellow gets past Valkyrie. There is that translation into real world, and teams and sponsors and manufacturers and everything. We're all starting to see that in its fullest form.
Yeah, I mean, we even saw that GT3 Racing in Europe had a sim race that paid out real points to the real world championship. So we're not dissing on other esports. BMW is heavily involved with League of Legends, with Valorant, with Rocket League, and we love them. We enjoy them for what they are. But this sim racing is just, it is unlike anything. You talked about FIFA, for example. I know a lot of professional football players, or soccer players as they call them here in the US, enjoy playing FIFA. They get their own special Ultimate Team cars, but they're not playing FIFA to prepare for the big game. There's no Liverpool player who's going to play FIFA to prepare for a match against Manchester City.
Now he's up into 14th spot after being involved in a bit of an incident early doors.
And I did mention that RAG Valentin Mandernach car, didn't I?
Yes.
Now 32 positions gained, 14th.
Yep.
So
pretty good start.
Pretty good start. Let's put it mildly. 1.5 separates 9th. 1.5 seconds separates 9th and 10th on the track. So I do suspect that Simeon Lynch will be able to close. Might have to go pedal to the metal because the pace has picked back up at the front of the field. Diogo Pinto with a 1:44.637. His fastest lap of the race. Fastest lap of the race overall does go currently to Altus Esports, who had a 44.265. So gives you the indication that even the leaders have maybe done the fuel saving required.
On to pit lane this time by.
Battle going on further back. RAG from full time, from Kova, all in the points paying positions. I think we've seen a couple of cars down on pit road, includes Fire Carbon and Valkyrie. That's just on the edge of the top 20, so they've pitted just before the hour. Lots of cars have used their fast repair as well. Not entirely surprising, but here come the race leaders. Just over 60 minutes left on the clock as red line from Apex through the top 4. Red line make it just 2 teams that control this race at this point in time. Surely they're pitting this time around. You can see, though, behind them, a couple of cars are coming down. Full-time, Kova, Girano leading the train down. It's a choo-choo train on pit lane. It's a wide pit lane as well, so there's no danger of cars running into one another.
Beneke and Holtzman, but either way, the
you know what happened there, Lewis?
To the track. tyres, maybe?
No, they were just slow on pit entry as left side of the screen. Red line come in, followed in by Jamie Fluke. Alejandro Sanchez, fuel-making machine. One more lap he goes, and fastest lap of the race as well, 44.070.
No way. Alejandro Sanchez, welcome to the...
Clear themselves off. It's going to be close, but not close enough. The question will be, how close are the rest of the field to the likes of Elvis Rankin, who has replaced Jamie Fluke, the young 14-year-old, does have some separation. It has worked nicely then for him. Now we look to Alejandro Sanchez, who mounts himself onto the banking once more. What is going to happen? Will Sanchez get the undercut of all undercuts to put himself and his teammate into the race lead? And crucially here, Lewis, recently on iRacing, I love that we're seeing these hot lap challenges at the Nordschleife are really fascinating between a lot of the content creators. Back in the pack, plenty of fighting still going on. Beaten and banged up for some of the Urano machines, but 3 of them now fighting along with one of the Valkyrie cars, and that is R8G Esports behind the wheel there for Florian Lebigra. That's World Championship lineup there. Valentin Mandanok handing over to Lebigra. Alexei Nesov in front of him. Great drive from Alexei Nesov yesterday in the Sports Car Open. Drove Urano up to second along with Sam Koiter, who's in front of him on the road. They've got Fabio Basuch and Valkyrie's number 17 just in front of them, and then Joop de Ligt plus 18 sits in 11th positions. Remember, these cars out of the point-paying positions.
You can fight as hard as you want in this scenario, but if you're in 11th, that is a big old goose egg on the point sheet. But remember, you never know how things are going to end. You never know if there's going to be issues ahead. And we saw plenty of issues in that first stint. And also, that instant, I think we can classify it as not resolved yet, because obviously race control and stuff can take a look at things, can apply post-race penalties. And so, realistically speaking, what I'm saying is you want to be 11th. Yeah, because if you're 11th and a penalty's dished out, you're back in the points. Yeah,
it's not just about being in the right place, you know, to take advantage of what might happen. It's also about bragging rights, let's be honest.
Yeah,
racing drivers, both virtual and real, we have egos.
Are you telling me that that we're all egotistic?
I need to be careful. I'm going to get in big trouble, aren't I?
Yeah, probably.
I'm going to lose all my access. Here comes the push from Fabio Basuch, really riding the rear diffuser of Joop de Ligt behind him. Alexei Nesov seems to have swept past Sam Koiter, who will actually, new recruit to Urano, be running in the World Championship that kicks off in just under a month's time. Look out for him. Quicken whatever you put him in. We've seen that on RaceBot TV in the past as well. 11th on back, fighting hard. Gap out front, opening up once more, little by little, 10th by 10th. Last time around for Luke Bennett, Gianni Vecchio at 45.019 for the Apex Racing team. They've finally managed to match their lap times at 45.104. Actually managed to stretch the advantage over Kenny Rusin and Andre Melchers. I do want to talk about Kenny Rusin and Valkyrie Esports. I mentioned this earlier, Lewis. Yesterday was a statement win from Kenny Rusin and his teammate Corentin Collignon as they won the 6 hours of the Red Bull Ring in the Sports Car Open. They beat the likes of BS Competition, and they did it with a strategy masterclass. I think we saw these guys at the end of 2021 picking up steam across of a lot of different competitions, including BMW Sim GT Cup. Now in 2022, this might be the year of Valkyrie. Although having said that, I think Kenny Rusin just got a slowdown penalty.
Yeah, he either a slowdown or maybe just accepting that he exited pretty badly from the bus stop there and just giving up the position straight away to the number 2 R8G sports car of Andre Melchers. The thing is with Valkyrie, we were talking about this particularly when we jumped in season 2 of the BMW Sim GT Cup when we brought in the M4 for the first time. Valkyrie like this car. They've matched this car very well, and they are showing this time and time again. Once again, another battle. Going around the outside, pick up a couple of positions up into 11th spot is the number 17 car, so a decent little move there, but again, it's 11th spot. It's painful to finish in 11th, and the more they fight, the more time they're going to lose. And also, you've got a little bit of a pack not too far behind with our Irish competition, with Carbon Sim Sport, who've been involved in their fair few instances today. RSR, Fordzilla, who we don't have a livery on Fordzilla. We do actually have Sandy Mitchell, who I think we do briefly last year in the final round of British GT, if I remember correctly.
It's always fun commentating on Team Fordzilla when they're not in a Ford.
Yeah, there is that. It's kind of like, how do we tackle this? There was a race or a series that I was doing a while ago, and they were in a Radical, if I remember correctly.
Interesting.
And they tried being like, they had to pick the Radical because the Radical was...
You've got the fake GT3 car in iRacing. Yeah, no.
I saw one of those out on the track at Phillip Island a few days ago.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait.
Virtually.
When did Australia open its borders to Lewis McLeod?
Yeah, no, definitely not. They would never allow me in, not even under normal circumstances.
Yeah, it didn't work out well for some tennis players.
It certainly didn't.
Yeah.
Nice visa, mate.
Yeah,
I
sorry.
don't have to tackle that one.
Yeah, I was like, how do I even bring this one up?
Yeah.
We're watching R8G and Valkyrie. Yes, that's R8G with the BMW Motorsports livery. We know, yes, racebot.media for the teams that forgot. Get your livery submitted for our second round at Bathurst. Going back to what we were saying, by the way, about finishing in 11th, there's a wonderful term that I just learned about this past year about finishing outside of, points-paying, prize-paying positions that they have. I believe it's in Finland. Do you want to hazard a guess, Lewis? Because there's no way you're going to get this.
No, I wouldn't even know where to start.
The Golden Pineapple.
The Golden Pineapple. Is that like a wooden spoon is obviously what you get for finishing in last place. A Golden Pineapple is what you get for finishing
Apparently, this was coming from, again, the Rallycross World Championship, where one of the drivers had finished outside of the automatic qualification spots in the year prior. And when I talked to him, he's like, yeah, I finished as the Golden Pineapple. I'm like, excuse me, what?
Golden Pineapple. Well, this then takes us back to the pizza discussion that we're not going to have on this, but we'll keep the Golden Pineapple on Race Spot then. That'll be fine.
No, Lewis, that pineapple is not allowed on pizza.
It's not allowed on pizza. No, you're absolutely right.
It's not a discussion when you and me are here. It's when we get heathens like Lorenzo Bonda around.
But maybe he thinks that North Cypher is the best track in the world, and if he thinks that,
then he's correct.
Exactly. You've got to be careful with what you wish for, Sonny Jim. Oh, no, never mind. I was going to say the full-time esports car has dropped off the train, but it's just where they're...
Fabio Basucci, what has happened to him? That car is damaged, and he's coming down to pit lane.
Oh, no. That is such a shame for the Valkyries.
Look here, coming through the bus stop. It looks okay here. He's got a Urano train behind him. Looks okay, looks okay. He's going to have to clobber the wall by himself here. Surely.
Oh, no.
Is it a technical? It must be technical.
Yeah.
You can see him drifting up the track.
Oh, no.
Oh! He got a slowdown. I think he must have got a slowdown.
And that is Saudi Arabia all over, ladies and gentlemen. That was not obvious what was going on there, and a costly mistake from both sides.
Spin it back further. Let's ride through the bus stop and see if we can pick up where this... Looks okay. Looks okay. That might have been it.
Okay.
No, I think that on the left side might have been it.
It's tight, but I think that might have been all right. I mean, either way, let's see. Is there a big lift?
Yeah, he's off the revs. Who was the car behind? I believe it must have been Joop de Ligt.
Who really couldn't do very much about that, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, it's not like let's ride with him. It's not like he had any indication. He goes up to get the draft.
Yeah, which is fair enough. Oh. And from his angle,
he got some damage. There's some lap traffic potentially. Another Valkyrie car that might help them out, but I don't look. Car looks okay. Might just have got their own pair of slowdowns to help them out. Here's the red line duo though. Here comes Luke Bennett on the charge. Vecchio in control. Going back to what I said earlier, Lewis, they fly. It was a drag race 12 months ago. It's a drag race once more. The 2022 BMW Sim GT Cup kicks off the road to BMW Sim Live, and here comes Gianni Vecchio in the draft and in control of his destiny. Bennett can do nothing but watch as Vecchio pops himself to the outside line. They almost door themselves coming down to the start-finish line, but for the third year in a row, Gianni Vecchio wins at Daytona to kick off BMW Virtual Motorsport and lock in 25 championship points for him and for his teammates Chris Lullen's hopes of making it to BMW Sim Live.
Feel bad for Bennett there. There was nothing he could do. He did everything right, didn't make a mistake, because R8G Esports Junior get past Cobra as well on the run towards the line. We're going to see a couple of those switches as well a bit further back, but it's all red line today. and it is all blue as well.
It was it blue last year as well?
It was blue last year, yeah.
So 2 for blue, 3 for Vecchio. What a performance from him. $1,200 in the pocket of Gianni Vecchio, Chris Lullum, Diogo Pinto, Luke Bennett will walk home with 18 points apiece with $600 as well in their pocket. Red Line controlled the last hour of the race out of the pit stop cycle, victorious to round things off. Well, Lewis, talk to us about that race from your perspective. We'll talk about the chaos, we'll talk about the carnage of the opening hour of the race. Ultimately, if Alejandro Sanchez doesn't make that mistake in pit road, things look very, very different.
Look, I think the main draw from this race is how strong Apex were. Apex have found something in this car. They are taking it to Redline, the dominant force in this car last season. They really did figure out, of course, in BMW Sim Live, it did come up co-anda in the end. But right now, Apex, they've got to feel confident. It wasn't a day they wanted. 3rd and 4th for their 2 top cars. The Academy cars having their issues. The pace is there. They can nail this. They just need a little bit more time, a little bit more practice, and a little bit less mistakes.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. One mistake changes the complexion of the race. We saw the coordinated 3 abreast jump at Bathurst. What's the Daytona equivalent of that, Lewis?
I mean, I would say double donuts. That's a bit boring and also quite tricky to do on a car track control. Turn it off, obviously.
Yes.
But you can't exactly jump anything here. It's a little bit. It's just donuts.
You can't with that attitude, that's for sure. Half a tenth, by the way. That's what separates Gianni Vecchio from Luke Bennett to wrap things up. Burn the house down, Gianni Vecchio. It is yours to celebrate here, victorious in the season opener of the 2022 BMW Sim GT Cup. He's struggling to turn off the traction control, isn't he? Yeah, there we go.
Got to move the brake bias all the way forward as well, so you can do a nice little burnout as well.
It's almost like he's got some practice of doing that. Cars working their way down onto pit road. Here's a look at the unofficial race results. I don't think there's going to be too many post-race changes to this. It was relatively clean within the top 10 where you think the changes might come. Vecchio and Bennett, half a tenth between them. It's a red line 1 and 2. Vecchio 3 in a row at Daytona in BMW competition. Kevin Ellis Jr. leads the charge for the Apex Racing team again. Great debut from Alejandro Sanchez. One mistake in pit lane changed the story of the race for the car that started on pole position. Elvis Rankin, the young 14-year-old, finished in 4th position with Kenny Rusin rounding out the top 5. Great day for Valkyrie Esports, continuing the show of strength for them this weekend in BMW M4 cars.